Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to Super Bowl Post Show slash podcast. This is your host Stephen Heyman, and we are joined by Matt Oler. What's up, Matt? How you doing, brother?
How's it going, everybody?
Man, it's been a minute since we've had the dynamic duo back, but we are back in business, and today we are talking about Star Wars. First off, all hail the fandom menace. All hail George Lucas's Star Wars. Just kidding. Well, really not kidding. So, today, we will be
For
talking
real.
here for real. We will be talking about a couple of topics. But first off, I do want to start with, if you guys don't know, if you guys watch my YouTube, I recorded a video saying that I changed my mind on the sequel trilogies. If you don't know this, I believe now that the sequel trilogy sucked. I defended the Rise of Skywalker on the podcast many times, and I will never do that again. Rey is not a Skywalker. You can take that and shove it, whatever. I'm done. Rey is not a Skywalker. And that's kind of the way I see it. I'm done with the sequels, and they are in the back of my mind. So, Matt, I know you've been preaching
Finally.
this. Yeah, you've been preaching this for practically months, for the past year, and I just haven't, been on the same page. But now I'm there. Fandom Menace Gang to the day we die. So while we're here, Matt, how did you feel about the Mando season 2 ending? So if you guys don't know, obviously at the end of Mandalorian season 2, Luke Skywalker showed up to take and train Grogu, and it shook up the nerd vine. The nerd world went madly and wildly insane. So, Matt, what was your take on this whole Luke Skywalker thing happening?
I was pretty excited, but at the same time, like it's kind of the same criticism I have with like all of like the Mandalorian. It's like I think it's a really good show, but like my problem with it has always been that I just feel like they rely so much on like older characters to kind of like make it, entertaining. And there's a lot of filler episodes like in between those I don't know. It's one of them things where I feel like it was really just done for the fans, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how much they'll actually evolve on it. I don't know. Like it just seems like they rely a lot on, like older characters and stuff like that. And then like Boba, he had a kind of decent role in this season, but like he was suspected to come back the first season, and then everybody said that they didn't want that because they wanted the show to focus on Mando. And then he came back, and then everybody was like, "Oh my god, it's Boba Fett!" You know what I mean? Like I don't know. That's just the way I always felt about it. Was kind of like it's like the way I look at it in like because I'm like a wrestling fan, so like I look at it similarly like that because I look at it like they bring back older, more popular characters like The Rock to get like a quick pop, but then they don't really do that much with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like it kind of worries me that they're not gonna really do a lot with them, and that Grogu and Luke are gonna have like a minimal role in season 3, but we'll see.
Yeah, so um I know for me, like, Luke coming was a really big deal. Number one, like, if you guys didn't know, the last Jedi right there just says why Luke was such a big deal. And I kind of disagree with your take on the use of old characters. I was seeing it more as, the use of older characters was so strong because they're focusing on the time period after Return of the Jedi. So did you like did you want like a bunch of new characters and not getting like the Ahsokas and the Bobas and stuff like that? Were you trying to look for that instead rather than the
Like
old characters?
I'm not like opposed to having them. It's more just that like yeah, I really wanted them to like evolve and make a lot more newer characters and bring a lot more new things to the mythos because like they're already using like the Mandalorian background for Mando, and like that's like his thing, which is totally cool. But like my biggest thing with it is just that like I wanted to see more, different Mandalorians and stuff like showing up and like different just different things that we hadn't heard about before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, brother. Yeah, man. I totally understand what you're saying. But for me, to me, as you said, it was a lot of fan service. So that's why a lot of fans enjoyed it with bringing back older characters like Ahsoka. And I mean, because for me, a lot of questions were like, where the heck like was Ahsoka after all of this crap happened, And I even want to see like did her and Luke ever have an interaction, like after all this crap went down. Did she join the order for a certain amount of time? Did she not? Like where did she go? And so I feel like the Mando show, and we're gonna get into that when we talk about shows, was to open a door to all these other shows. But but yeah, how did you like the Luke scene? Like, were you impressed or were you just like, like it's all right? What was
I
your
mean
view on
so I liked
it?
the premise of the scene. I was definitely a fan of. The CGI was not great in my opinion.
Yeah,
I feel like they should have went with a live actor. You know what I mean?
like
I feel like that
Sebastian
would have,
Stan.
yeah, just anybody really.
So you don't think it would have mattered if it was Sebastian Stan or not?
No, I really don't, bro. Like I just
Ooh.
feel like they could have. I mean, Sebastian Stan would have been cool. Plus, he's already under contract, so
Hmm.
like it would have worked. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I feel like it. They definitely could have gotten away with doing a couple other actors. You know what I mean? He's not locked in. Like I know a lot of people really wanted to see him,
yeah.
and like I said, I'm not opposed to Sebastian Stan or anything like that. It was just more that like the CGI route to me, like it very very rarely actually turns out good. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like to where it like looks super good. And to me, this was not one of them cases where it looked really good. You know what I'm saying?
It was like it wasn't the best deep fake, that we've seen. And it's funny because I was looking at YouTube's online and I saw way better deep fakes than the one that we even got, which raises the question of what the heck are these people using at Disney. But yeah, I mean, so for me, the first time I watched it, bro, I was just in shock. The second time, I'll be honest, I cried. I'll keep it a stack with you, bro. I'm just keeping 100. And then the third time, and the third, I've watched it like 50 times already, maybe more. But like ever since then, I was like, I can see what you're saying, but I felt like for this scene in general, this it was fine because he wasn't. But you could tell like he wasn't doing a lot of movement, and they cropped out like a lot of his face. Where you just see his body standing, and it seems kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like Luke would have done more talking. Like per se,
Right.
but like I feel like Luke would have done more to explain who he was, why he was there, Grogu's meaning more than what was said. And so I do agree to an extent that I wish we got an actor because I'll keep it 100 when he was first removing it, I swore up and down it was freaking Sebastian Stan. Like from the chin up at first, it looked just like him.
Right.
And then when the mask came, I was like, oh my god, it's actually a CGI Mark Hamill, a DH to Mark Hamill at that.
Well, even like they could have even done Sebastian Stan just with like a little bit of CGI, like done to him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like they
Exactly.
could have, you know what I mean? Like the same thing they did with like Paul Walker in Fast and Furious. Like they used his brother, but he still looked just like Paul Walker, especially because their facial like areas
Structures,
were
yeah.
pretty, yeah, structure was pretty similar. And like I don't know, like I said, to me that's just one of those things where it's always come across as lazy in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
um but and CGI, just like I said, it bro, it just always like it
And it's expensive.
sometimes it's expensive, but it rarely looks like good. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
sometimes it looks decent, but I would rarely say that it actually looks like, oh,
Yeah.
that looks really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. To get
I
to
don't
have
think
yeah.
that I don't think that it was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it. I don't know. As much as money and time and effort as they're putting into Mando, I just feel like they could have done a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that. And like, Marvel and Avengers have proved it. To have good CGI, to have good VHX stuff, you're gonna have to pay lots of money. That's just the reality. Like Thanos, to get Thanos to look that perfect and get the Hulk to look that live and the whole army of freaking aliens, you gotta pay the money. And to me, I mean, it definitely seemed like Mando didn't have the biggest budget to do a deep fake that hard. And I felt like if they had a budget of a movie film, like a WandaVision budget, they would have been able to, make the CGI that fire. But
Right.
and maybe season three because I I'm going to save it for the shows, but maybe like later on down the road, maybe around that season three, if we see Luke again, I don't think we're gonna see Luke and Mando for a while, if we ever see him again. But if we do see Luke again in these other shows, I think that they'll have a bigger of a budget to do that. But I think the best option right now is to cast a Sebastian Stan or an actor that looks just like him that has the acting ability to be a Luke Skywalker because
Right.
this deep fake thing it isn't going to work. It's not perfected yet. Our technology isn't there. So but yeah, but like a lot of people were saying that Star Wars is saved. Sorry to bring it to you guys. Star Wars is not saved. Disney Star Wars is saved, not Star Wars. But
Right.
yeah.
So here's another thing, and I want to just clarify this. Like, I enjoy the Mandalorian.
Mhm.
And what I'm saying by like they rely too much on these older characters. It's not that I don't want to see them. It's just that like it seems like Mando is kind of just using like what it does is like it tries to bring a lot of these characters back and bring them back into like the storyline because characters we haven't seen in forever, like like Bobo or like Luke to like expand on his story and him training Grogu and everything like that. But like, and if they get it, like we've seen, like typically these characters are like evolving and then getting their own show or like branching off, and we see them other places, and that's totally cool. It's just one of those things where like I've said it every time we've talked about it is like my fear with it is that it's going to get too wrapped up in these other characters and it's going to take away from Mando's story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like I want him to have his own story and I want him to like, you know what I mean, grow into the character that he's supposed to be, you know?
exactly. And that's why I think Grogu leaving was the best thing for the show.
Right. Because he was getting way too popular.
Exactly, exactly. And Mando has definitely been used for a catalyst to branch off all of these other shows, which is good and fine. Like if you want to use season two to do that, good. Now we have a Boba show. Now we have a Ahsoka Tano show coming and all these other shows. But now season three, Mando has the freaking dark saber. Him and Bo-Katan, we don't know what's going to happen. They might have to do it for it. Make this about Din Djarin taking Mandalore or something. You know what I mean? Like this has to be
Right.
about that. It can't. This can't be about any other character. Has to be about Bo-Katan, Mando, and the future of Mandalore. Like what's going to happen. And so I totally agree with season three has to push his story. It can't be about Grogu. It can't be about all these other people. It has to be about Din Djarin and his journey to being the ruler, or if he is to be the ruler of Mandalore, or whatever he's going to do. So
Right.
definitely, I'm on board with all that.
I
So
agree.
yeah. So quick question: do you think that Din Djarin will be the ruler of Mandalore?
Um, I think it's hard to like say that. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to
Hmm.
tell right now, just
Yeah.
because of like there's so many different routes they could go. I
Hmm.
mean, I really want to see a siege of Mandalore in an actual like battle. Like I want to see this happen.
Yeah.
Um, but like I said, it's really like impossible to know right now, just because like there's so many different routes they can go because of the way that like the last season just like I said, I feel like it focused a lot more on establishing these other characters,
Hmm.
and it focused a lot more on getting these other characters, like I said, for one established, but also for two, like setting up all these other shows that like there's so many different routes you could go with Mando season three. So like I would think that like they would try to the happy ending idea would be like yeah like he becomes ruler of Mandalore and all that stuff. But like, they might not go that route. Maybe he dies, and
Yeah.
that's why we've never heard of him and stuff. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, they kind of have to, and the one of the things about the sequels that blows me is that we like, it's hard to judge what happens in the future because in the sequels we get no update on Mandalore at all. You know what I mean? And so it's hard to
Right.
gauge what we think is going to end up happening. But
Well, they
hey,
didn't know what they were doing with Mando, and I'm pretty sure
yeah,
that was obvious.
yeah, yeah,
Or with the sequels, excuse me, they had no fucking clue what they were doing. So
exactly. And when we talk about Catherine, we're definitely going to dig in about how they have men with suits riding and not people that actually love Star Wars. We're definitely going to get
right.
into that later because that is a really big issue that needs to be touched on. But let's get into these shows. So the shows that will be coming out because of the success of the Mandalorian is Boba Fett, Acolyte, Ahsoka, Bad Batch, Obi-Wan, Road Squadron, Lando, Andor, and obviously Mando season three. But apparently, we're not seeing Mando season three for the next 2 years. So, Matt, which show are you most excited for? And I'm pretty sure I know what your answer is because I know you like the back of my hand.
um, I'm really excited for the Acolyte show, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like because that's like it's gonna talk about so many things from the past and establishing the dark side and where the powers come from and all that stuff. Like so I'm really excited for that show. But I mean obviously Kenobi's gonna be fucking
Yeah,
dope. So I'm
that's
really
why,
excited
yo,
for
I was
that.
waiting for you to say because I know that when they said that Hayden Christian was coming back, I know you were like, oh my god, this is a freaking amazing. Like I knew I like this is Matt's
Well,
stuff.
we'll see. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it could be terrible. Like you
true,
know what I mean?
true, true.
It could be absolutely fucking awful, but we're just gonna hope for the best, you know?
Yeah, this is Disney Star Wars we're talking about, right? But yeah,
Right.
so I mean, I am definitely excited for Acolyte. I hope, and this is my prayer, but this is probably not going to happen. I would love for Acolyte to be a catalyst to seeing either getting a movie or a series about young Sidious.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
I want to see young Palpatine, and I would love to see that, and I would love to get more about Darth Plagueis. And I mean that's really what I'm most excited for. And I were hearing rumors that Plagueis might be a girl. Please do not do that. Please do not do that. Please don't ruin Darth Plagueis for me. That's one of my favorite characters in Star Wars. Please do not
I
ruin
feel
it.
you.
But so yeah, I am hyped for Acolyte. I mean, Ahsoka, it's whatever. Obviously, they're doing the World of Worlds thing. We'll see what happens. Um, let's use the World of Worlds to retcon the sequel trilogy. And I'll be fine with that. Um, but yeah, so I know you have a lot to say about Boba, right? So how do you feel about this Boba Fett show, knowing that you're a Boba Fett fan? Because on whenever we're on freaking Star Wars, freaking Battlefront, you love using Boba.
Um, I'm really excited. You know what I mean? That Boba Fett's getting his own show, and they're finally expanding on the fact that like he did survive and all these things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's huge and really important. So, but overall, like I'm interested to see the route they go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I want them to do it the way they kind of did Arrow,
Mm-hmm.
where they talk about his path now, but then they also go to flashbacks and like explain. Like I want them to tell two stories at the same time, the way they did with the
Yeah.
first couple seasons of Arrow. It'd be
Mm-hmm.
so dope if they did it that way.
Exactly. That would be awesome.
Him
So
escaping the Sarlacc and all that, and where he's been.
exactly. Exactly. That would be awesome. Now, for this Obi-Wan show, I know you have really high expectations for this, even though Disney Star Wars has ruined a lot for us. But how do you? It's a fact. So, but how do you feel? Like, what are you expecting to see from this Obi Wan show?
Um,
Like,
I really don't know.
like,
I mean, I think we'll see him keeping an eye on like a young Luke and Leia. I think we'll see him kind of wandering around, figuring out what's going on in the galaxy. We'll probably see some, you know, brief light interaction with stormtroopers and stuff. And then basically, I think it'll culminate in him eventually going into hiding and everything.
yeah. Do you think he's gonna run into Vader?
I don't know if we'll see him face to face, but I feel like we'll see some reaching out through the Force and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I pray to God that they don't force Skype. Oh, I will be tight if they force Skype. But yeah, bro. I mean, so for this Obi Wan show, I think this is gonna be really good because I can't wait to see how Obi Wan, like what Obi-Wan does when he realizes that Darth Vader is Anakin.
Right.
That's going to be so beautiful to see. And I also believe that we have Hayden Christian in this show because we're going to see moments from the Clone Wars that
Right.
never been on live action or animated TV ever. Like that's the hype part for me about this is to see flashbacks like with Clone Wars Anakin, not just a movie. You know, it's going to be really like deep dived in stuff, and I believe that this is going to really show how Obi-Wan is coping with the loss of Anakin. That fact he had to kill, well, he thought that he killed his best friend slash son, you know?
Right.
So I mean, I do believe that's gonna be awesome to see. But yeah, bro, that's
I
gonna
agree.
be a different breed, man.
You know, I agree. I think it's going to be
Yeah,
dope. I'm excited for it.
exactly. That's probably that's probably that's definitely a highly anticipated show. We're
Like
also
Kenobi,
get
I feel like it's going to have the highest expectations, which is
oh
also
yeah.
why it could be the quickest and easiest to fail.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about. I think Deborah Chow's behind that. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's Deborah Chow. She's directed some good episodes in Mandalorian. So um, I have faith. And also we're getting Rogue Squadron by Patty Jenkins. And
I'm glad you brought that up because I don't have faith in that.
well, I don't know, bro. Well, she's look. So it can either go really good or really bad because
Right.
I believe that war movies that's Patty Jenkins' pocket. Like Wonder Woman 1 is one of the greatest superhero films I've ever watched in my life. Hands down. Great movie. And I believe that Patty Jenkins did well because of the war aspect of it. And and the reason why and if I don't know if you watched the Investors Day, but the reason why Patty Jenkins is doing Rogue Squadron is because her father used to be a pilot. And so I believe with the fact of that she has like an emotional background to it, it can be good. Now the other
Oh, it
side of
definitely
it,
can be.
yeah, but now the other side of it, Matt, is the fact that if she builds a character to be like her father too much, I think it's going to fail
Me too. I agree.
because then you'll lose the actual lore and the rules to this thing, and you'll make it about someone you love rather than building up a character. So I don't. So
Right.
it can go either way for me. Kind of like how I felt when I walked into 1984. I was like, this is either going to suck or it's going to be really good, and obviously ended up sucking. So, but but yeah,
Ended up
bro.
being fucking terrible.
Yeah, bro. That show was whew,
Yeah, that was pretty. That was I'm not gonna lie, that
pretty.
was pretty
I mean,
tragic.
that movie was pretty brutal. Pretty brutal. I saw it. I watched it 7 times just to make sure that it was trash, and I was very upset. But yeah, so
I watched it 7 times just to verify that I
yeah,
was 100% correct and it
yeah,
was
bro.
trash.
I didn't make sure that I wasn't tripping, bro. It's kind of like when I saw the Last Jedi. I watched it like 8 times in theaters just to make sure it wasn't trash, but it is. But yeah. So like, do you feel the same way about Rogue Squadron?
Um, I don't know yet. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it could be great, dude. It really could. It could be awesome.
Yeah.
Or it could be absolutely terrible. We could walk out of the theater and be like, I can't believe I just wasted all my time watching that. You know what
Exactly.
I mean? Like it can go either way. And like that's one of the things where we're just gonna have to hope for the best as far as that goes. Patty Jenkins, I don't think she's an idiot or anything. I
Yeah.
just think that like, a lot of people are like, I can't believe she ruined Wonder Woman and all this and like, you know what I mean? You can think that if you want to, you know what I mean? But I don't see it that way at all. I don't
Yeah.
think it was that bad. I just think it was more like I don't think she was fully prepared. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I
And
don't think she
yeah,
had thought everything out. A lot of people found discrepancies in her
in her
a lot of
plot.
people found discrepancies, yeah, in the plot and everything. So I mean, it
Yeah.
sucks, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? You can't win them all. So
Yeah.
we'll
The it,
just. I
issue
I
the
don't
issue
think
with
Wonder Woman 1984 is as bad as everybody else does. Let's put it that way.
So look, bro, the issue with 1984 is that like I believe that the way Patty Jenkins was thinking was like, as a director, I want to do something that nobody else is doing. You know what I mean? And
Right.
and she was like, I want to take the most complicated plot and apply it to this movie. And the fact of the matter is the whole Wishstone crap was so confusing that she had to spend the rest of the movie explaining it while trying to
Right.
push character development and another story. That was
Right.
why it failed. It wasn't the production, it wasn't the quality. The quality of the movie was great. It was aesthetically pleasing. Like the movie was great.
Right.
The issue was that she picked such a complicated plot, and it's because of the freedom that she had because of the success of Wonder Woman 1. Now, Kathleen Kennedy sucks, number one. So depending on how much freedom she gives
Agreed.
her, and from what she's given J.J. Abrams and Ryan Johnson, they've had all the freedom in the world. So if she's under the umbrella of Kathleen straight up, she'll have the freedom to do whatever she wants. Where I believe it's either going to be a hit or miss. If somehow she ends up under the umbrella of Dave Filoni and Favreau, I believe that's going to be a success.
Right.
So it all depends on who is managing that. You know what I mean? Because Kathleen announced everything, but we all know her hands aren't tied in. Her hands have a hand in everything, but she doesn't have all the creative control in a lot of these shows that are in movies that are coming out. So
Right. Right.
it just all depends on who's in Patty Jenkins' corner. Because I don't even think Patty Jenkins has a background in Star Wars. Like, and that's why I think it's such a big issue too with a lot of the directors that Kathleen has been choosing because they have no knowledge in Star Wars. They don't know the lore, and that's why the movies don't work. So it all just
Agreed.
depends on who's being used, like who's in the background telling her like you can't do this because of that. You know what I mean? So, but
Yeah, that is definitely gonna it's definitely gonna be a but I feel like we could say that about almost everything. Like think of
true.
everything DC and Star Wars. Like the two things that we've seen, like Marvel. The reason I don't bring up Marvel is because we haven't seen Marvel. People be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe the direction Marvel's going." Like we don't really
Yeah.
know that until a lot of their new movies come out. And we see the new phase and everything. But like, look at DC and Marvel, and just look at how like, or DC and Star Wars, excuse me, and just see how like it seems like they've kind of struggled. You know what I mean? Like as
Yeah.
far as like it's hit or miss. Like you think about like Star Wars, like Rogue One was pretty well received. Solo was probably it was more well received than bad, but it was still kind of mixed. Then you have like the sequel trilogy, which was not well received at all. and then like it's then you know what I mean. It's kind of like just hit or miss depending on each movie. It's like a movie by movie basis. The same thing with DC, like Aquaman, Shazam, and the original Wonder Woman, where like everybody loved them, and then Batman v Superman and stuff, and second Wonder Woman, and stuff like that. People were like, "This is terrible." So like
Yeah,
it kind of just depends. Like, and you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and like that's the hardest part as a fan to watch it and be like, you know what you want to see, and it's impossible to not have expectations going into it because of how invested you are in it as like, you know what I mean? It's a hobby, it's a passion, things like that. But like all we can really do is just wait and you just hope for the best. You know what I mean?
exactly. And I agree with the same. Now, I'm gonna just put these three together: Bad Batch, Lando, and Andor. I don't really care about Lando and Andor. Being completely honest with you, I mean, I'm gonna watch them, but it's not like on the top of my list of
Hold up, I
interest.
didn't. Lando is Childish Gambino going to play him again or no?
I'm not sure. It hasn't been announced, but it's most likely going to be Donald Glover, whatever his name is.
I was gonna say because that was one of the things that I don't mean to sound like a, you know what I mean. I don't mean to sound like a non fan or anything, but like
I
I
I
definitely
wasn't
was not paying
I
attention to
wasn't
that.
I wasn't blown away by Gambino as Lando. Being honest with you, it wasn't like I believe that casting was more he can look the part rather than the ability to be a good Lando. But then again, bro, maybe it just might have been the direction he was given because he's not a bad actor. He's not.
No, definitely not.
But
Definitely not at all.
the thing with Gambino is I just think that he's good in his pocket, which is like the Atlanta type of thing. You know what I mean? I feel like that's where his strength is at. But I don't think he fits well in this fantasy Star Wars thing. But if it's him, we'll see. We'll see what direction the show's going. Andor, which is a sequel to Rogue One, I really don't care. Whatever, just give it to us, and if it's good, it's good. Bad Batch. I mean, do you care about Bad Batch? I really don't care. I like it's whatever to me. A lot of people are
Um,
hyped up about it.
I don't have like crazy expectations, that I'm not as invested as a lot of the people, a lot of the fans that are. But as far as from a perspective, as far as being interested in this clone troopers, and then being clone, I think they're clone troop 99 or something like that, and they're like
Yeah,
they all have like like genetic mutations and everything with the cloning process and stuff. So I'm pretty excited to see how like that turns out. Like, we might get some cool things that we're not really expecting. So like from that aspect of it, like yeah, I'm intrigued, but I wouldn't say that I'm like, you know what I mean? Oh, I can't wait for it. You know what I mean? It's kind of just
exactly,
like I hope it's good. If it's not, it's not. You know what I mean?
exactly.
It is what it is.
Yep. All right. So now that we're done with the shows, let me just say this theory I have for the shows. I believe Luke is going to be in almost all of these shows. I think Luke is going to be more of like a traveler. I think he's going to be like appearing in these shows in and out. And I'm not sure if all these are going to connect, but I do believe that the Ahsoka show is going to connect some way with this whole Thrawn thing that's going around. And I believe that
Right.
we're going to get Ezra back in the Ahsoka show, and it's going to build up to something with Thrawn. And it would be nice to see Luke to see Luke fight against Thrawn, but also, and then after Thrawn's over, then he goes to build his order. But from what it
Right.
looks like in Mando, he's already doing it. So I don't know what the heck is happening. Like what if Ben's already? You know what I mean? What if he already has Ben? So I don't know. We'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see how
but
that turns out.
see, that could be cool because one of the biggest critiques that I've seen, and one of the things that I wasn't personally super happy about, was the way that like Kylo really had a lot of, just genetic history as far as um, like he had a lot of history as far as all the different characters and things, people he was related to. You know what I
He
mean?
was the Prince of
So like,
Naboo, right?
right. Well, he technically would have been all of these things. Like he would have been Prince of Naboo. He would have been Prince of Alderaan. He would have been like he would have had all these things. You know what I mean? His genetic
Yeah,
history was pretty superior to most people, and it was just pretty much all completely ignored. So like that's is one of the things that I do hope that they elaborate on a little bit and expand on a little bit, is
yeah,
that aspect of it, and it being more I guess just you know give us more about that. Let us know
exactly.
some things. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Because obviously all these things will lead into the sequels unless somehow they're being retconned. But all
Which
these things
is
will
completely possible. So don't forget that.
exactly, which is possible. So and I believe and to me, like Finn and Ben to me were characters that could have stayed. in my opinion.
I
Definitely,
agree.
definitely Ben Kylo Ren. I think he like to me he was my favorite character in the sequels. And there's so much that you could dig into that. Like before he turns to the dark side, show us that Ben could have been these things and he chose to, train in the Force. Or was he forced into it because Leia saw that vision, like she did in The Rise of Skywalker? If it's not retcon, and maybe that's why Kylo Ren resented so hard because he didn't want this. He wanted to be something else, but his mother forced him to train with Luke because of that vision. So I don't know what road they're going to go, but I would love to see the young Ben and Grogu and what happens with him and in the future. And I just hope that they don't use Grogu as a joke either. I really would love him to grow into a
I agree
Yoda.
100%.
Yes, yes, I would love for him to grow into a Yoda type of a figure because to me is if we're continuing to the episode 9 or whatever, like further on, I would love Grogu to be having his own order in another area of the galaxy that Rey has not touched. So
Right.
and I think that could continue the story. So I do want to touch on the High Republic real fast. A lot of people have been asking me. I tried reading it. I read the first book. It sucks. The comic books suck. Oh my god, I'm not like, and I didn't buy the third one, bro. I'm done spending my money on this crap. Like, and Josh from the Geek said this, and I'm gonna repeat the same thing. Until a nerd that I respect, like you, Matt, or like maybe not Lewis because he's a sequel trilogy lover, or 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 maybe
Yeah, I don't
someone
know.
else.
Lewis is
Yeah, Lewis goes in and out. It's like one day he loves
he's
it,
out there,
next day he
man.
hates it. You just don't know. Not to mention he's Henry Cavill's biggest fangirl on the planet Earth. But anyways, until a respected nerd tells me, "Yo, read this," I'm gonna read it. Bro, Matt, I can't tell you how many hours I wasted reading this crap, bro. It was terrible, and barely do we get a mention of Yoda. Barely, barely. And the ways that the lightsaber is used is not comically correct. Like she's using lights, it's terrible, bro. It's freaking terrible. Like, oh my god, it's just my issue with a lot of this stuff is you are not casting writers that know the rules of Star Wars. Like,
Right.
just like, just like, excuse me. We'll be getting into the sequel conversation too about this, about how there are rules to this, and you just can't throw in people to do stuff, and it's just really I don't know. It's the villains even, bro. The villains are basically bounty hunters.
Right.
How is that a challenge? How is that a challenge for a fully trained Jedi who can literally lift up the bounty hunter as high as they can and throw them down and they're dead? And they
Yeah,
can't do anything
especially
about it.
my issue with that has always been the fact that like we've always been like told that like Django and Boba were like the only bounty hunters that could actually, really fight Jedi and win. So like when you just have some random Joe Schmo bounty hunter that like is supposed to be like fighting, to me it's
Yeah, it's
never
like a whole group. Like, bro, they could even use the freaking ricotta or something. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, like, how are you going to have a bunch of Jedi but no Sith again? This is basically the prequels started all over again. Like, which is fine. Like, it's fine
right.
for the prequels, but if you're going to the High Republic, there's a fall, right? The High Republic is supposed to be the greatest time of the Jedi Order, 100 years of peace, blase blase. But there's no Sith, there's no enemy. Like, why would you make a plot of 100 years of peace if there's no real enemy? Like behind the
I
scenes that
agree.
can actually challenge these people. Apparently, the Sith are behind the scenes, as I read, bro. Like, you kidding me? Like, I don't like, bro. It's so stupid. And even if we go to the sequels, there's only one real Sith that we get to see in action, which is Kylo. Snoke really
Right.
does nothing, like except holds Rey in the air like an idiot. Like, bro, like little like the only time we've gotten real Sith stuff is Rebels with the Inquisitors, which I really loved, and Clone Wars, the show. We
Right.
barely have seen any great live action Sith stuff. Like we got Palpatine, yes, Vader, great, but we never seen a consistency of Sith, like where like it doesn't seem like there's one Sith against 50 Jedi.
Right.
So I mean, so to me, like I was expecting the High Republic to be like a whole new thing of like this is the new thing. We're gonna do a Sith and Jedi war, Like, but no, we get the same crap over and over. So yeah. Have
Yeah,
you have
I
you
just
read
feel like you
anything
kind
or
of not really. I feel like you, man, you really are optimistic, and I am the complete opposite.
yeah.
So like maybe that's what it is. It's just you just get really excited about these
I was
things, and I
hyped
keep
up
trying to
about it,
tell you,
bro.
I keep trying to tell you that it's not going to be what you think it is. And you're like, nah, bro, they're going to snap, and then they just
Bro,
don't snap.
do you remember how hype I was about the High Republic? I was watching trailers. I was sending to you like, bro, stop sending me this.
I
I was
know.
like, I was like,
Yeah,
yo,
I was like, dude, I don't care. Like, I'm glad you're excited,
exactly.
but I don't care. And you
Exactly,
were like,
bro.
nah, it's gonna be great. You're gonna read all of them, and I was like, yeah, we'll see, bro.
Bro, I was even gonna let you borrow one of my books. Like, I was gonna give you all of them, but after I read, I said, man, I'm
No,
gonna burn them, bro. I'm not gonna give them these books.
yeah, you were way too excited. But I
Yeah,
mean, hey, man, I love the optimism. I'm just, as a fan, I'm really tired of being let down and everything. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And so, like, when it gets to a certain point, like, it's just one of them things where it's like, you know what? I don't think that they're ever gonna learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. I mean, that's just Disney Star Wars for you, bro. That's the way it is. Like, and again, Kathleen Kennedy's pushing this SJW crap through the books. It's, excuse me. That's all it was, Matt. That's all it was. SJW ness, woman, blase. Like, bro, we don't care. We just want to hear a good story. And because, like, I don't care. Make a woman the leader. I could care less. All I care
Right.
about is a good story. Because tell me how the High Republic ended and how Yoda took the order and made it what it was in the prequels. Tell me that. Because that's what should have happened, right, bro? Yoda was
Right.
like a B-list guy in the High Republic. And when the High Republic ended, he took what he believed was the right way and combined with the Republic to start this order. Like it just it doesn't do that, bro. Like the only thing you might hear Yoda is, and Yoda felt the Force with him. Yoda was the strongest Jedi still, most likely, in my opinion.
Right.
Yoda was on another level, regardless. Like, and he has barely no part in this. It's terrible. So High Republic is trash. Nobody buy it, and we need to speak with our pockets. Okay, don't buy this crap like I did. So next question for you, bro. Will the sequel trilogy be retconned?
I mean, I really hope so. But if I had to guess, I would probably say no. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
being completely honest, I don't think so. I think that that's Disney's baby, and they're going to try to do whatever they can to make people enjoy it and make people like it. I don't think they'll be able to do that. Like, I honestly think, the majority of people are not fans of what they did with the sequel trilogy. I know there's people out there that like it and enjoy it, and if you like it and enjoy it, you know what I mean, to each their own. But like, it's not, from my point of view, it's not something that I would want to see personally. And like I said, I wish they would retcon it. I just find it hard to believe that that's actually going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
bro.
from my perspective, like, nah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, if Disney was to retcon the sequels, it would mean that they lost. I don't think
Right.
Disney has the balls to do something like that.
Nah,
And
I don't either.
so I do believe they're trying to make it forgettable. I can agree to that. I can agree
Okay.
to the fact that they're building up these shows to make us forget about the sequels, which won't happen. But I believe maybe that's what's happening. I don't think it's going to be a big retcon because of the secreted scars that this sequel has left because it crapped on all of the lore. Like, and let's get into the sequels right now. All right, Palpatine coming back basically killed everything that Anakin did. Like, Anakin's Vader's redemption means nothing now that Palpatine's back.
Right.
Like, the whole point was that he killed Palpatine and ended the Sith at the time. Obviously, Sith is going to rise again. That's the way it goes. But that's Anakin slash Vader's arc, bro. When he throws him off the cliff, the bridge thing, and
Right.
like, and so that and just killing the lore and all that. I just don't think that can be ever. That will never be forgotten in fandom history.
Right.
Like
Because it was the redemption that everybody was looking for. Everybody
exactly.
wanted Anakin to, become Anakin again. Especially, like, it meant a lot more once the sequels came out or the prequels, excuse me, came out, and people were able to see Anakin as Anakin. You know what I mean, and not just see him as, like, this villain that everybody that he was in the original trilogy, because that's what Vader was. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
So
bro.
like, I don't know. To me, like I don't think that was the best option, but I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
what are you gonna do?
yeah. It was the dumbest decision in cinematic history to not bring Han, Luke, Leia, and Lando together in the sequel.
I
Dumbest
agree.
decision in history.
I agree.
It like and Cobra Kai has done it so beautifully. Giving us the older characters and letting us cherish them. So when it comes time for the younger characters, we are ready to receive. You know what I mean?
Bro,
Like
I like Cobra Kai. I'm
Cobra
not
Kai
gonna
is
I'm
freaking
not gonna lie. I
amazing,
really
bro.
like it.
Cobra
I think it's
Kai,
a good show.
yes, it is great. It is great. And Cobra Kai doing what Star Wars should have done. Like Ray's time should have started to come in this episode 9. These 3 episodes should have been Luke, Han, and Leia, and Lando, and Chewie's 3, because they
Right.
deserved it. We never see the thing that we never got. Like, we never know what happened in the gap other than the EU, which is technically not canon according to Disney. So I mean,
Right. Well,
they
did it
handle that
really? I
so
mean,
wrong.
come on. Did it really surprise you that like they made that not canon? Because it didn't really surprise me. I'm not gonna
No,
lie.
even though they have the greatest characters in comic book history in the EU, but that's none of my business. Please,
Star Wars comic
yeah.
book history.
I just want Mary Jade, bro. I just want Mary Jade. Anyways, I'm a Mary Jade fan. But yeah, bro. I
I
mean,
could
it's
tell.
just bro, she's been my crush. She was my crush since I was like a kid. I always love Mary Jade Skywalker. And then who do I like now? I don't really like anyone now. I was on the Brie Larson train, but that's kind of that ship has sailed a long time ago. But yeah, but anyways, off topic. But yeah, bro. I mean, and we're gonna talk about this another day about the sequels, because we could go on for days talking about this, but it was a disappointment for sure for all of us. We can all agree. But do I think the sequel trilogy will be retcon? No, and you agree probably not. But
No, I don't think so. To be honest.
yeah, but I believe that they can improve by executing on these series, and I don't know what the heck could happen for episode 9, but if they were to retcon, or episode 10 or whatever, if they were to retcon, keep Finn and Ben, literally, keep Finn and Ben.
Yeah, they could have done so much with those characters that it actually kind of annoyed me that they didn't do anything with them.
Bro, Finn could have been a Mando Jedi. He could have been something, bro. Like,
And Poe too. I was really
yeah,
annoyed they didn't do anything with Poe, especially because
yeah,
so when they killed off Han Solo, I was super sure that like they were going to do a lot with Poe. Like he was going to kind of
be the
assume
next
that
Han,
role.
basically. Yeah,
Yeah, and so when he didn't do that, I was like, okay, maybe they just have some other plan. And then it like Rise of Skywalker, they just did nothing,
he
and
was
I
a
was just
pilot.
like,
He was just a joke. I mean, he's just a pilot.
yeah, I was just, I don't know, I was just confused, man. I just felt like that was like, why didn't they do anything with him? You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly,
he
exactly,
seemed like he had a lot of potential as a character.
exactly, bro. He did. Like, yeah, like I mean, as I said, like if you look at it on paper, having a Ray, Finn, Poe, and was a good match. It's switching up because now Ray's like the Luke role. Finn didn't even have to be a Jedi. He could have been in a Leia-ish role with a little more fighting. You know what I mean? Being force sensitive, like feeling the force and making decisions on the force, and showing certain abilities. But man, I mean, Finn had so much potential. Yet they
Right.
just and what is the actor's name? John Boyega even said like they basically like F you, basically, like
Yeah, he was apparently really, really,
yeah,
really unhappy with, how everything worked out.
he was heated, and Finn had the most potential out of all of the characters to be the next guy to take the order. To me, I feel like Finn could have been the guy to take the order to the next level.
The part
But
that made it so weird to me was how popular of a character he was too. You know
yes,
what I mean? Like
in
he
pop
was a
culture,
super popular character, and
yes,
people, yeah, like people really liked him, and that's
when
when I was
he
like,
held that lightsaber, bro, in The Force Awakens, everyone went crazy in the theater. And when Ray grabbed it, she did not get the same amount of hype that Finn had.
right.
Like,
But that just begs the question though, like why do nothing with him? You know what I mean? Like I don't understand
even
that.
after, even after this crap show of the sequel trilogy, They could have
Right.
continued Ray and Finn, maybe Ray training Finn or them both learning by Force Ghosts the Force and how to be a Jedi. And them two could have started in order. Maybe Kylo Ren's Force Ghost or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like they could, or I mean Ben. So they literally just chalked it and just gave us signs that he's Force sensitive. You know,
Right.
and the Rise of Skywalker felt like a sequel to the Force Awakens. It didn't feel like a truly ending. They should have made two parts. They really
Right.
wanted to do that. Because for me, bro, I was expecting like I would have loved for the Force Awakens to be more of like a Luke, Han, and Leia story with bringing Rey along and like teaching herself along the way, and Han Solo dying in the first one, then maybe Leia dying in the second one, or maybe someone else like a Lando dying, and then Leia and Luke dying together trying to save Ben Solo.
Right.
Because let's not forget, in the Return of the Jedi, Luke is the one that threw away his lightsaber, and that's what saved his father. It wasn't the fighting. But somehow we get
Right.
Luke in the hologram fighting Kylo Ren. That's not who Luke Skywalker is. He would never do
Right.
that. Luke would have
Right.
did the same thing he did for his father. He would have said Kylo, he would have died. Literally trying to save Kylo, just like Han did.
Right.
And I don't think that's how Han would have died. Han would have died on his own terms. Like Han would have never died like that, bro. I don't see Han being like Han would have been a douche to him, bro. I'm sorry. Like this is Han Solo we're talking about. And for
Yeah,
some,
I wasn't really a big fan. Like I remember watching it in the theater though when they killed him, and I was there with my dad, Malcolm, and Ryan, and we're sitting there watching it, and all four of us were like, "Wow, that's kind of weird. I can't believe they killed him like that."
yeah,
Yeah, like all of us were like, "That's yeah, I don't know how I feel about that." And
yeah,
like
like
that was
yeah,
always my perception of that was like it just seemed like a cop out to me. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It just seemed like they were like, well, this is how we're gonna do this. You're either gonna like it or you're not gonna like it. And I just feel like the majority of people definitely did not like it.
yeah, for real. Yeah, Han's supposed to be the guy with the swagger, you know, and it wasn't that. But yeah, so and and like if they did a part three where Luke and Leia died, and then Ray and them finished the job, whatever, with not Palpatine, I would have been fine with Snoke being the main bad guy. Like seriously,
Right.
I like Snoke. Like I was a
Said I
fan.
like Snoke.
Yeah, he was intimidating. He was freaking scary. I liked him. It was different. He looked
Right.
deformed, like he was a Sith. And then I don't know where the third one. Oh, he was a clone. Are you freaking kidding me? Come on, dog.
Well, so hold on. Was he a clone or was he just a was he just like
He was
a
a
pawn?
vessel. He was a vessel,
Yeah,
and
for
Palpatine
Palpatine.
inhabited his body, which is, I mean, it's true. Like Sith do that, but come on. And
Yeah,
apparently
it definitely
Palpatine's a
seemed like
clone
they could
too.
have done a lot more.
Yeah,
They
and
definitely could have
yeah,
done so much more, dude. And like, but that's the whole thing that makes that whole situation just suck, man. Is like how much more they could have actually done
even with the
with
third movie, bro, even with the Last Jedi and the Force Awakens happens, if they had a two-part movie, it would have saved the whole sequel, hands down.
right,
It would have saved the whole thing. You literally could have made Luke just imagine this crap happen, and you could have redid it, literally, literally. Or even without it, like even Ray, like she could have had a double bladed lightsaber. Like, come on, you know what I mean? There was so much potential for her too, even though she was practically perfect. And let's not even get into the hero's journey that she never even went on. She was practically perfect. She was in the same place when the movie started and when the movie ended. You know what I mean? Literally
right,
nothing, nothing. Um, like Luke and Han and them, they related to human beings. You know, like they related to humanity. Ray is literally perfect, bro. Like
right,
she goes through no hardship at all. The only hardship she goes through is not knowing who she is, and then she finds out she's a Palpatine.
right,
And and this is the part that pisses me off, man. Leia says in the beginning of the movie, "Don't be ashamed of who you are." Right. So when do you expect her to say that she's a Palpatine in the end of it? Because Leia
right.
says
And
that.
instead of saying that you're pretending to be a Skywalker, yeah,
Yes.
that was
How are you honoring Leia in her death when you say you're a Skywalker? You're not honoring her. You're taking on a mantle that you should not be taking. They killed off all the Skywalkers. Dude, this is insane. There's no more Skywalkers now, bro. Oh my god. Okay. So, uh, next thing. Let's talk about Thrawn. How would you like to see
Right.
Thrawn being the next big bad to connect a lot of these shows together, like kind of like a Rebels or a continuation of Rebels?
Right. Um, not gonna lie, I'm not, dude. I'm really not super interested in Thrawn. If
Hmm.
I'm being completely honest, I really don't have a lot of interest in him as a character. Like to me, he just seems like he's all right. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it is what it is. You could do a lot with him if you want to, but like to me, it's just not really necessary. Like Thrawn's just kind of gonna be there, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's just my opinion on it, though.
Yeah. I am very interested to see how it goes because the only reason why I feel like Thrawn only worked well in Rebels because we had the Inquisitors. That's why I feel like Thrawn worked so well because
Right,
we had people with lightsabers and he was coordinating all of this stuff. Now, what is going to challenge Ahsoka?
right.
Like, are we going to get an army of Beskar staffed people? That would be dope. Kind of like remember when she fought that girl in Mando with the Beskar staff?
Yeah,
Are we getting an army of like something like that would be so dope to see. I would love to see that. Like or Thrawn having a Beskar staff or something that can combat her, and he just goes on like a
right.
killing like if it's a whole different outlook than what we got in the show when he's on like a killing machine, bro, that would be freaking dope. But we need
Right.
some type of Sith influence if Thrawn's going to be the guy, regardless.
But that's if he's gonna be the guy.
Yeah,
I don't think that
and
they've
it can't be
really
Palpatine.
like they've hinted at it for sure, but it's still not guaranteed. And in my opinion, it's I hope they try to swerve us. You know what I mean? I hope they try to
Yeah,
swerve the smart fans. You know what I mean? And they
could you
try
see
to
him? Could you see him teaming up with Moff?
Gideon.
Yeah.
I could see it. Yeah, for sure.
Did you like Moff
Uh,
and Mando?
he's okay. I don't have a problem with him. I don't dislike him. Um, I don't know if I would be like, oh yeah, I can't wait for them to do something with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's he's all right.
Yeah, but we definitely need someone powerful like that's like unleveled. Where
Um,
like
right.
on like another level where Luke has to come out. Like Luke has no choice but to come out because of this. You know what I mean? Like give Luke
Right.
a reason to come out, not for freaking
Because
Thrawn.
that's the only reason that he would come out
Yeah.
is for that is like he's like, okay, they actually need me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like I don't feel like he was needed before.
The only way I can see is if
Or
Ezra,
at least he wouldn't feel like he was needed. You know what I mean?
yeah, or it could be Ezra and the Rakata, and Ezra becomes like 10 times more powerful because he's a Sith now. That would be freaking insane, bro. Like you get an older like Ezra as a Sith. Oh my gosh, bro, that would be wild.
I mean, they have a lot of options, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like that's something that I don't want them to I hope that they remember that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, okay, we have a lot of options. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So that they don't have to just like be like, well, this is what everyone wants, so let's do this. Like, nah, bro, like give us something we wouldn't expect. At
exactly.
least that's what I want. You know what I
And
mean?
and not a Ryan Johnson. Like, dudes, give us something we would expect within the confines of the rules of Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Right.
Give us something that we won't expect with the rules. All right,
Right.
like that's the catch because Ryan Johnson gave us something we didn't expect, but it wasn't right at all.
Right.
So now on the last topic of the before we end this, Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm. Um,
Right.
so uh, we don't like Kathleen Kennedy here. We're not the biggest fans of Kathleen. Uh, we're not. I'm not gonna say I don't like her as a person, but because that would be kind of far. I don't know her, but as the president of Lucasfilm, I do not like her role as the president. She does not deserve it. She did George Lucas dirty. She practically conned this man, but
Yeah, she did.
yeah, practically conned him, and she's ruined Star Wars for a lot of fans. For a lot of fans, I believe that her time is coming to an end, and um, I well apparently she signed a new contract, so I don't know how sure I am about that, but um I do think that Favreau, like, if there was someone to take the helm, it's not going to be Filoni, because Filoni's not, a president guy. He's not the guy to take the Hollywood guy, the Hollywood role. It will be Favreau. Favreau's been in Hollywood for so long. He understands, and from what it looks like, he has an idea of where Star Wars should go. I see him and Filoni playing really big key roles. If they were to take the power, but I don't really see that happening. But I'm totally fine with Favreau and Filoni staying in their bubble right now, because it definitely seems like for some reason, and maybe it's Bob Chapek at Disney, maybe he has like a certain hand that keeps Catherine's fingers not in what they're trying to do. You know what I mean? And that's why Mandalorian has been so successful. Do you think the same,
Right.
or how do you feel about Howard? Not how you feel about Catherine, but how do you feel about her?
How do wait? Hold on. You said you already know how I feel about Catherine, but how do I feel about what?
Oh, I mean, I was like, I already know, but tell the people your opinion on where she's taken the Star Wars brand and Star Wars in general. Like, how do you feel about where it's been and where it's at?
I just feel like she's I genuinely do feel like, and this is just, you know what I mean, it's my opinion, but
Yeah, of course,
I do feel like she is kind of ruining Star Wars. Like I think that
I agree.
she had an agenda that she really wanted pushed, and I don't think that it was the agenda that really anybody wanted to see. You know what I mean? And like that is genuinely just the way I feel, and like I do know that that is something that's hard for people to accept sometimes, that people, just don't, that people just don't want what you're trying to put down their throats. And like, you know what I mean? Like, not everybody's about a cash grab, bro. Like, a lot of us are really just genuine fans and just want to see our favorite characters done right. And you can keep trying to like shove Ray down our throats and make us like her, but like, no one's gonna like her because no one likes her. It's not because like there's anything that you can do to make people like her. People just don't like her,
Yeah,
and that's not going to change.
and it's not because she's a girl. Like,
Right. That has
and
nothing to
that's
do
what
with it.
everyone keeps saying. It's because she's a underdeveloped, she's a not underdeveloped, she's a horrible developed character.
Right.
She literally, like, it has nothing to do with her gender. Just like if they made Anakin back in the day and he was a bad developed character, we would have said the same thing about Anakin. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter who it is. It's the fact that you're pushing an agenda and you throw this girl Ray on us, where if she went a true hero's journey, we would not have a problem. We would not have a problem.
Right.
If she
Nobody would.
exactly, if Luke trained her in the order and she went through a lot of stuff, just like how Luke trained with Yoda, left Yoda, got his hand chopped off, got his butt kicked. Like, Ray never goes through the progressions that a hero actually goes through. You just force it on us, bro. She's the most powerful Jedi from running through a McDonald's course. That's how she's powerful.
Right.
And
Like she did like a crash course for dummies and just became like the most powerful Jedi ever.
exactly, she's
And it was kind of
levitating.
stupid.
Exactly,
Right.
we've never seen no one levitate in live action before.
Right.
Like, how? When you're getting trained by Leia, who has not been fully trained in the way of the Jedi, it said she stopped early. And
Right.
all of a sudden, you're floating in the air, and she can't even reach out to a Force ghost, and she's floating in the air and doing all these and shooting out Force lightning, and literally, bro, stopping a ship in orbit off of raw power.
Right.
How do you stop a ship off of raw power and then die from holding two lightsabers to Palpatine? Well, all Palpatine had to do was stop shooting lightning. But anyway, all right, let me stop. But yeah, so it's just
Let me
so
calm
idiotic.
myself down.
Yeah, bro, it's so idiotic. But yeah, Kathleen is running Star Wars. I do agree with that, and she's pushing this agenda that to me it feels like she's saying men are bad at this point. And
Yeah, I know. And it, like that's what everybody feels like. Everybody's like, everyone's like, oh, well, they just don't like her because she's a woman. Like that has nothing to do with anything. Because if that was true, then Wonder Woman would not have sold as well as it did and did as well as it did at the box office. Like
exactly,
you know what I mean? Like if they or Captain Marvel or any of those movies, like if that was really like the case that people just didn't want to see a woman doing anything good, then none of that would have happened. And like that's something that people need to understand.
exactly.
It
Because
has
as
nothing
yeah,
to do with the fact that she's a woman at all.
because as bad as Captain Marvel was, she went through a hero's journey. And no one can tell me that payoff in Avengers Endgame was not fire when she came through the sky and took down Thanos' ship. Like, no matter
Right.
how bad that movie was, she still had a hero's journey in the movie. And when in Avengers Endgame, everyone respected it because they saw her go through it.
Right.
That's the thing. You can have bad movies with a hero journey, just like The Man of Steel. Not everyone likes the Man of Steel, but they still respected Cavill Superman because he went through a hero's journey. Like that.
Right.
That's the issue with a lot of these people. Like they don't do that. And and
Yeah,
Matt.
you're just like, oh, I pick up a lightsaber. I guess I'm just powerful. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's not how it works. That's not how
Exactly.
it worked in any of the movies that were done before. So why is that how it works in this movie?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And why is this girl just randomly so powerful? Like, can we get some explanation? Like, oh, her bloodline? Like, no, but like you can be as powerful as you want. That doesn't mean like,
Leia's a
Anakin, like
prime example.
and
Leia's a prime
Anakin
example. Yeah.
Anakin is an example too. Like, look about when he was a little kid. Like, his midichlorian count was higher than anything they'd ever seen, but he didn't know how to use any of those abilities. Like, people tried to say, like, well, he used it in the pod racing, and I mean, like, I could see why you would say that, but
Maybe
like,
his senses. That's about it. Maybe his seventh sense. I don't know. Maybe that's about it. Like,
right? Like, yeah, like I said, there's things you could say like that's why, but at the same time, like, I don't think it would be fair at all to say that like, Anakin knew how to use all of his abilities right away because that definitely would not be true. He definitely did not. He definitely learned how to use them.
nor did Luke. Nor did Luke.
Right. They all had to be trained. And like that's what I'm saying is like Leia and Luke both technically quote unquote trained Rey, but like not really. She didn't learn anything visually to the audience at all in that time, other than how to, force Skype with Kylo.
Exactly. Which passes as a natural ability because they're a dyad. We get it. That we get it. The whole dyad thing. Cool, cool, cool. But the fact that she can do all of these things, bro, with no training is insane. And
Yeah,
for
no,
yeah,
it's honestly frustrating.
yes. And for people that say, yeah, but you don't know, bro, the time passed from The Last Jedi to Rise of Skywalker isn't even weeks, bro. Isn't
Right.
even weeks. So, because this is literally where they built their new resistance at. Like, this is not even weeks. So yeah, Kathleen needs to go. Regardless, I don't care what anyone says. Kathleen needs to go, and we need new visionaries. We need new thoughts. I would be fine if Favreau was not the president and he was able to do what he wants in his thing. Him and Filoni. Like, I want a president kind of like a Steve Kerr for the Golden State. Steve Kerr is not the best coach, but he gives Steph Curry free will. We need someone that can enable people to do what they want while understanding the rules. Like Kevin Feige.
Right.
Kevin Feige understands the rules of Marvel. That's why we barely see any bad movies because that anything that looks out of line, Kevin Feige checks it. That's the reason why. And we need that. We need someone who understands Star Wars
Right.
and that knows how to navigate around Hollywood against around all this social justice crap and all this stuff that's going on. Because we
Right.
don't have, and Feige is the perfect man that steers clear of all that crap and focuses on telling a good story. We need a Kevin Feige for Star Wars, regardless. So, yeah. Sorry, guys.
I do
Yeah,
not disagree.
exactly. So, all right, guys. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe below to YouTube. And also, if you're listening to our podcast, please give us a 5-star rating and like this joint for me. Follow us on Instagram at the Superhero Post Show. So thank you guys and have a wonderful day. May the force be with you all. Not Disney's force, but George Lucas's force. Have a nice day.